I'd like to call the meeting to order of the City of Monona City Council, Monday, May 5th. Could you please call the roll?
Alder Wood.
Here.
Alder Rademacher.
Here.
Alder Kugel.
Here.
Alder Bernstein.
Here.
Alder Kula.
Here.
Alder Holmquist.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here. Please rise for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have approval of 2 sets of minutes this evening. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from April 15, 2025 and April 21, 2025?
I will move approval of both sets.
Thank you.
Second.
Do I have a second? I have a second. Any changes, corrections, additions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. Is anyone here to make an appearance this evening who is not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll close the appearance section. Obviously, not seeing any public hearing. Well, no consent agenda as well. No unfinished business as well, so we'll move to new business. Number 2A, consideration of resolution 25-5-2803, award of contract for 2025 street resurfacing project from Public Works Director Dan.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight we're here for the first reading of the street resurfacing project for 2025. I will be presenting this as well on Wednesday evening at the Public Works Committee. And we did just go through the Finance Council or a Finance Committee before this meeting tonight and received their recommendation to Council for approval. We received bids on April 3rd from 2 contractors. Payne and Dolan provided the low bid in the amount of $161,281.90. This project's going to be divided into 3 accounts. We have a portion for sanitary sewer, and that's just leveling the manholes with the new surface, a small amount there of $2,400. The street maintenance portion, that's where the bulk of the asphalt work will go, $76,379. And then we also have South Winnequa from Bridge Road to Bartles that is going to be receiving a full depth mill and overlay and some base repair, $82,502 for that work. We're also receiving $32,320 for local road improvement grant funding assistance for that portion. The bid tab was included in your packet for review. It shows the streets that we're going to be resurfacing: Lamboli, Owen Road at Winnequa Road in Midmore, and then also Owen Road at Pheasant Hill, and then Winnequa Road, Bridge Road to Bartles. That data is in there. Is there any questions that you have for me?
I have one. Why do we get the local road money for Winnequa, not the rest?
The application was submitted, I think, back in 2022. And we got the second year of the funding cycle.
Okay.
So at that time, this was the road that needed the most attention, so this is what I submitted for the grant funding.
Okay.
These other roads came on the list after that.
Okay.
So.
Well, I think the Owen Road improvement down at Winnequa will be much appreciated. That's pretty
Right.
rough.
It's in rough shape.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other questions for Dan at this point? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll move to number 2B, which is start for immediate action tonight, and that is consideration of resolution 25-5-2807, approving a request for the release of an existing public utility easement at approximately 5600 Gishel Drive, coming from the Public Works Committee. And since we typically like you to explain why we need immediate approval before I call for any kind of motions, that would be great.
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. The reason for this request, it's one additional utility easement. This is an item that was already considered back in March of this year. This is associated with the Topgolf development. So really the reason for the single read, the request for that is just to allow for these documents to all be recorded at the same time and to proceed that way. So we have 4 of the 5, and this would be the last one.
Thank you.
I'll move that we suspend the rules and take this item in order.
Thank you, Brian. That's exactly where it's going. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Do I have a motion?
I have to vote on that first.
Sorry. All those in favor say aye.
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 Now, do I have a motion to approve the request?
I'll move approval. Second.
I have a second. Any other questions, discussion? Doug?
And that's conditional upon Public Works Committee meeting on May 7th. Okay.
With that, I'll take the.
Correct.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Doug. Third item, number 2C, convene in closed session under Wisconsin statute, section 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargain reasons require a closed session. This is the Monona Pines Development Agreement and Accurate Appraisal Contract. Before we go for a motion for closed session, I know there's a presentation here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so this evening the request is coming forward for the development for Monona Pines. This is 5103 Monona Drive, the currently vacant lot. The development proposal here would be for 48 market rate units of residential units with ground floor fitness center as well, facing Monona Drive. So this did receive its planning approvals back in October of 2024. The City Council has seen this for both the rezoning as well as the consistency with both the TID and the redevelopment area plans, and that was approved by Council back in November of 24. I've asked the applicant to join this evening to give an overview of the project, as well as sort of a brief highlights of the reason for the TIF request as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
Randy Christensen, Walter Wayne Development. I'm here representing Monona Pines 2 LLC. I have Robert Proctor, the managing member, resident here of Monona. We have started this whole process, just to give you a little background, we started this whole process back in November of 2022. And prior to that, had several meetings with Mr. Plowman and staff, some Plan Commission members, one of the commissioners, Commissioner Holmquist, had met with us. We've also, this is a TIF-assisted project, which it doesn't work without the TIF assistance, and we work through all of that with CDA, with those members of CDA on a couple of different occasions in closed session with them, private session, I should say, as well as the number of meetings we've had with them. We started that whole process back in January of 2023. So we've spent some time with this to get to this point where we're finally ready to start construction on this project. As Mr. Plowman had mentioned, it's a 48-unit apartment project. There's some fitness area that we've got that's at the front of the building. Our architect, our team, JLA, Mark Ott, our lead architect, will run through that a little bit. Veer Brecker, John Kastner is here as well from our civil standpoint. We've had a lot of civil work that's had to happen on this particular project. You'll notice there's a green-blue roof that's on top of the building to handle the stormwater requirements here for the city of Monona. The parking requirements, it's all underground parking or enclosed parking because of the tightness of the site and where it's located. The amount of street parking and so forth is very, very limited. We've met all those requirements with the city. We have 63 stalls, I believe, and 48 total units, a mix of 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms, and studios for this project. We feel it's a great asset for the community and the location here. especially on Monona Drive. It gives a nice street presence to that area. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Mark Ott for him to do a quick run-through of the project, just to kind of familiarize you guys with it, because I know some of you have seen it, some of you may have not. This may be a first run. If there's any questions afterwards, please feel free to ask me. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Mark.
Great. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. So thanks, Randy. Thanks for everybody's time to listen to our presentation tonight. So what you see here is a rendering of the building as approved at 5105 Monona Drive. This would be as if you're standing across the street at the golf course, looking back across Monona Drive at the front of the building. The materials used on this building are fiber cement panel, fiber cement lap siding, and masonry veneer brick. What you kind of see here is the kind of start up on top of the building. We have a 4th floor occupiable roof terrace that we'll look at in the floor plans, but it has an outdoor component to it that overlooks the golf course with an interior club room. You see some of the private balconies that we have, both again at Monona Drive and on St. Teresa at some different terraced levels. You see kind of as you're working your way to the right side of the page, the canopy roof there in kind of the silvery gray looking color. That's the main building entrance. We'll have a better look at that in another slide. And the garage entrances that are on St. Teresa. At the front of the building, the railing and the steps you see there are to service the fitness center, which is on the 1st floor, which we'll show you in floor plans, with storefront windows to give and fit in with the commercial corridor that we have on Monona Drive. Next slide. Really quick, this is the location of the site. It's located next to the Food Fight Group building there on Monona Drive on St. Teresa. The site to the north, there's currently now a vacant lot, I believe, that was recently razzed. And then you have the golf course across the street. Next slide. This just kind of shows you the site plan from an aerial kind of standpoint of the footprint. You see, obviously, or you see the green area there that we made sure to meet the city green space requirements, open space requirements. What you see kind of inside that pinkish flesh-colored box as the footprint is we have multiple green roofs on this building at different levels, some at private terraces, and probably about almost 90% of the main body or the main roof up on the 4th floor is what we call green-blue roof, meaning that kind of when you look at it, it's a green roof. What's hidden underneath the green roof with the plants is a stormwater retention layer, a series of trays that hold water to meet the Dane County and Monona stormwater management requirements. Next slide. Here's just now more of an elevated view of the building along that corner. You can start to see on the lower terraces along St. Teresa there, you can start to see some of the green roofs that happen there. Unfortunately, we did not render at the time we produced this the green roofs that happen up on top of the 4th floor. Like I said, that's about 90% of the roof. The green roof goes out to 10 feet within the perimeter of the top of the roof there of the wall edge, and that's from a building code standpoint for fall protection. But kind of inside that 10-foot border, it's entirely green roof. Here you can start to see the 2 garage entries that happen. One closer to the corner of Monona Drive that goes down. Yep, thank you. Right next to that is the main building entrance with the canopy there for visitors and guests. And then as we move towards Gordon Avenue on the back there is the 2nd garage entry that goes up. So as we get in the floor plans, you'll see the reason for that is we actually have the site is relatively flat, but to overcome that, we've got, and to get our parking counts, we have 2 levels of parking, one that you go down and one that kind of goes up. Next slide. Here again, we just start to kind of rotate around back towards Gordon Avenue. You can see, again, the 2 garage entries. You can start to see the rear of the building on Gordon. You'll see more views of this in other slides, but you can start to see that to activate Gordon Avenue, we've added a terrace at grade there. So again, another tenant amenity, and you can see it as kind of, you move north of the page from the terrace, there is a dog run for their guests and their pets, which is fenced in. Next slide. Here, we'll skip this. This is the same view you saw on the first slide. Here we start to see the view if you're coming up Monona Drive from the Beltline direction. The kind of ghosted image there over on the left-hand side represents where Food Fights building is. We've ghosted it, as we call it, so you can see what the materials on the building are behind it. You'll see another view of this later on. But here you start to see the attention that was paid to this side of the building, as it is taller than kind of the surrounding existing buildings there. So we really wanted to make sure as you come up the hill towards this, that you get a really nice view of this building and with high quality design. Next slide. Here we're kind of getting just more of an elevated aerial view of that side. You can start to see how that relation works. And here you can really see that occupiable roof deck with a aluminum pergola for shade up there, and just adding more architectural design to that roof terrace. Next slide. Here's the back corner on Gordon Avenue. Again, you can start to see it here from this view with the those smaller windows at the lower level are actually into the parking garage. So we wanted to, again, articulate that face of the building, even though there's parking behind there, to make sure that we address that architecturally for a good aesthetic. Next slide. And then here's just, I think, the final slide of the renderings that show the rear, again, of the building on the Gordon Avenue side. High quality masonry, again, on that back side. It might be the rear side, but we did want to treat it as it is a highly visible side, because we know it is. Next slide, we'll run into the floor plans here really quick. Lowest level is really just parking only, 34 spaces. We have some bike parking here. We have our trash pickup that happens here. And then we have, with both levels, we're handling additional bike storage with wall-mounted bike hook brackets at the front of the parking stalls for the cars. Next slide. Here on first floor, it's a mixture of 29 parking stalls, as well as our fitness center up along Monona Drive. And then kind of in the white space is our common, what we call circulation path, with our lobby and elevators, mail and parcel rooms. Next slide. Here we start to get into second, third, and fourth are all the residential floors. The different colors represent the different units, as Randy mentioned, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and studios. Here you can kind of see on the north side of the page a couple of those different roof terraces with green roofs that are incorporated. Next slide. Third floor, kind of similarly, again, kind of scaling the building back. It kind of continues to carve in as it goes up. So here we have another green roof with private patio. And then the next slide. Here we have the fourth floor, top floor. The reddish box there represents the club room. With the page right is the outdoor roof terrace amenity space we talked about, with grills, tables, and a gas fireplace that will all conform to city fire department and regulations for those features. Inside the club room, some of the things we have are a kitchenette area, kind of a lounge. We've got what we call co-working spaces, which are little offices that people who work remotely can go in and use, as well as a game area, shuffleboard, pool tables, etc., all in that area on the upper floor, taking advantages of the views across Monona. With that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Unless anybody has any questions before we go into session, I will take a motion.
Yeah.
I have a question. Yeah, I know it's nitpicking, but is it 5103 or 5105 Monona Drive?
5105, I believe. But maybe I'm wrong.
Because it says 5103 on our agenda.
I double checked that. So the planning approvals had come through at 5105, same location. The development agreement, though, states 5103. I double checked the parcel number and things like that, and it's 5103. So I believe they're both attributable to that lot, but as it relates to parcel information on the county website, it's 5103, as
Okay.
the draft document is correct.
And I just wondered, I don't know if there was any discussion at the Plan Commission, but did you talk about having a commercial component to this project and why that?
We're past that. We've already approved the
So it's-
project. So we're just dealing with financing at this point.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I mean, we approved, as a body, we approved both the PIP and the GDP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do think it relates to TIF funding, because if TIF funding could help with the commercial component of it, I'd like to know that. But
Yeah, unfortunately, there's,
I'll take your
Yeah.
point.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I guess I wonder why that's not relevant to this, because we're talking about giving, granting them 1.2 million in TIF assistance.
Right.
So kind of whatever is relevant to any alder's decision should be fair game.
Okay. I just thought that since it related to the TIF, that it would be something that we could be asked in closed session.
That could be. I mean, he can't ask these guys in closed session.
I
but-
can
Right, but
answer.
we're-
Yeah, we can answer it. Only if
go
you,
ahead,
okay.
please.
There was a lot of discussion at the Plan Commission about it. Spent a lot of time with Chris Hamburg on the issue, really. And so when the rezoning was done, the type of rezoning district it went to actually would allow for it to be used commercial if there could be a use for it to be commercial. So, and it's, when they had a lot of talk about, well, it's not up here, but the, how it engages with the sidewalk and stuff, is that it could still, at some point in the future, the hope was that if there was a potential for a commercial, that it could go to that in the future. The use that we're gonna have right now, the person we're talking to, that is a workout facility type area, and there is somebody who's looking to use it potentially as kind of like a personal trainer type training place. So it would potentially be commercial, like that it could be used as a workout facility by the residents, but also be used by this person commercially. When it went through planning, its location and how it is right now with residential traffic and stuff, there's gonna need to be much more density in that area for there really to be walk-up commercial. There's not a ton of parking there, so to like think that you're gonna put something in there that people can't park at, like a coffee shop or a restaurant or anything like that is just not really, we'd have nowhere for them to park. There's no parking on St. Teresa. That street has no parking signs, so it's like, so there, it put a lot of thought into it, potentially can happen, but I would think that that would be anything more than a sort of fitness, some sort of personal fitness. It's, that would have to be way down, that'd have to be down the road.
Yeah, and in addition, I mean, the user that we've been talking with for some time, this individual, they own other facilities around the area as well. So, I mean, it does have a commercial component, you would say, or a retail component, because there is potential for, he's gonna conduct classes and so forth for residents in the building and for residents in the neighborhood. So it does have that sort of feel for it, even though it's, and, like Robert said, I mean, we looked at it from a commercial standpoint, and it's just tough, because there's just not a lot of density around the area. We have a project on Park Street, on Hardin Park Street, 2,500 square feet. We finished it 3 years ago. The space is still empty. So, I mean, the commercial market and, that whole thing it's a relatively soft market. But I think in working with Plan Commission and, the discussion that we've had several times since, 2022, this was kind of like a decent sort of win for both the city and for us. And we're lucky to have a guy that is in that particular situation that is interested in this project, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you bet.
Okay, now I would be happy to take a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a second. Could the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Rademacher.
Aye.
Alder Hubel. Aye. Alder Bernstein.
Aye.
Alder DePulo.
Aye.
Alder Humphries.
Aye.
Alder Wood.
Aye.
Do you leave or do we leave?
No, we're gonna
we'll go-
actually go into the boardroom,
Yep.
so you can hang here.
Admit everybody here, I think on mine. I'm on here, admit everybody. We're good, Mayor.
Okay, so we are back in open session, and just for the record, we're at 2E, which is consideration of resolution 25-5-2806, approving the development agreement between the City of Monona, Monona Community Development Authority, and Monona Pines 2 LLC. And this was the first read, so there's no action taken on that tonight. Now, item number F is consideration of resolution 25-5-2804, amending the 2025 operating budget for assessment services, also first read tonight, so there's no reason to take any action. And last, consideration of resolution 25-5-2805, approval of an updated contract with Accurate Appraisal LLC for property assessment services. Again, first read. And that takes us to item number H, reports of committees, commissions, boards, mayor, city administrator, city attorney, department managers, sustainability efforts, and diversity, equity, inclusion efforts.
The mouthful.
With that, I'm going to start at the end. Rick?
No report.
No report.
No report.
Sorry. Blocked.
That's it.
Brian?
I'm trying to get the nights correct. On Wednesday, there was a Public Works meeting, and there was a few items on the agenda. One regarding what we talked about tonight, which was the release of the easement, which we approved. There's a street resurfacing project, which we talked about. And then a short no parking recommendation on the crest of Panther Trail at the top of the hill. So that is coming forward for discussion, possible consideration. And then there's probably the largest item is the discussion and consideration regarding the stormwater quality plan update. It's a fairly decent sized document, but it covers a lot of our requirements from a state level as well as our involvement in the adaptive management program. After it gets looked at and approved at this level, it will come to us. So tune in if you're interested. And then next week there's Prime Commission on Monday. Only one item for a request for a zoning permit for Expand Massage at 1250 Federal Drive, Suite 205A1, which I'm not sure exactly where that is.
And Alder, I think there may be a quorum issue for that meeting, so if they can't, that hasn't been canceled yet, but there's a possibility that it could be at this point, so, for Plan Commission, yes.
That's news to me.
I just heard that from Director Plowman here recently, so.
Thank you. Doug?
MPO meets this Wednesday, and let's see, license review meets next Tuesday. So, and that's the big May meeting where we have all of the various liquor licenses, et cetera, come through, so that will show up then on the council agenda at the next meeting.
Thank you. Teresa?
Brian very well wrapped up Public Works. What's on the coming forward with that? Community media's been postponed until next month. We didn't have much on the agenda to discuss. Sustainability is meeting on the 8th, and we'll be listening to a presentation from a group of UW students from the Energy Analysis and Policy Initiative, and see what they've come up with us for a couple buildings on the civic campus. Transit's coming up. I can't remember the date. And I also want to just, for the DEI topic, today is the 5th of May, so to all who celebrate Cinco de Mayo, cheers. In my just quick looking that up, I found something really interesting that I thought I would share. A lot of people know already that Cinco de Mayo is not the Mexican Independence Day. That is in September. but rather it is a celebration of a victory over a gigantic French army, headed by Napoleon. What I didn't know is that a lot of historians believe that had the French won, that could have really affected the American Civil War. And the Confederate states in the South the French would have joined the Confederates, and who aimed to divide our nation. So interesting how that all works out. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Rachel?
I have no reports.
Okay, great. Eileen?
Yes, assessment letters have gone out to all residents. Open book in person is next week, Monday and Tuesday. Appointments can be made through Accurate's website. If you miss that or the appointments are full, you can still email with an assessor for the open book. Then Board of Review is going to be June 18th with the deadline to file the appeal Monday, June 16th at 6 p.m. If you have questions regarding your assessment, I can answer basic questions, but if you really want to talk about your assessment, you should reach out to the assessor. They know the most about it.
Thank you. Attorney Cole? No report. Neil?
Just a couple of items. Kim Richmond is our CSO, is taking on his code enforcement duties as of May 1st. So folks expect to see him driving around town. It'll probably be nice for about the first month and be issuing warnings, just to kind of get back into the groove on some of those things. So if anybody has any questions or has any issues or things you would like him to check on, please let me know. We're really excited to have him on board. Very well known in the community already from his crossing guard duties, and we're excited to have him on board. Just wanted a couple things. Hopefully the Adams Outdoor Lease is coming back to council. We hope either for the first read on May 19th or June 2nd. We're going to be certainly reconvening with Attorney Cole and myself. We'll be meeting with them again here hopefully in the next week or so to try to finalize some information. We finally have gotten a map that we can work with on them. The increase of the detailed map raised additional questions with our zoning staff in terms of some boundary impacts. So they've mostly addressed those, but we want to have a meeting and sit down with them to really go through those in detail, as well as the items that council has requested that we really kind of work into our lease agreement. So hopefully that's still coming. So we just want to know that conversation is still ongoing. Similarly, with our Civic Campus Project update, we're hopefully going to be having an update available, and then maybe an ad hoc committee here sometime here in May with possible recommendation and some options for our council to consider probably in June. So obviously that's a significant investment, so we want to make sure we've got kind of a project in mind and what it would actually take, as well as a fairly confident cost estimate for consideration, and then identification of options if that's the way we need to proceed after that. The Kelly Place Underground Stormwater Project is getting ready to start construction. I know Brad has met with several neighbors, kind of outlining the project. He's done a nice job of discussing that. And I guess just one last item for good news. Hopefully folks saw that WVMO won large format station of the year for the third year in a row. This is including been taking out a lot of these big guys here in the Madison market. So pretty impressive. And yeah, I mean, really, this is statewide. Exactly. This is really really an amazing thing. So I think if I read the recap, they had 9 third place awards for various shows and programs. They had 4 second places and 5 first place honors. So pretty amazing for a volunteer driven radio station. Pretty amazing little product we have here in the city. So that's all I have there.
Okay. It's not only construction season, it's also activity season. So I would just point out there are a few things that we have coming up this week and beyond. First of all, on San Damiano, on Saturday, May 10th, from 8 to 12, the Friends of San Damiano are hosting for World Migratory Bird Day. Are hosting guided bird walk early in the morning at 8, followed by some story time, nature craft, fun, yoga, keeping the birds in mind. I don't know if they're going to be doing yoga yoga shaped like a bird or what.
Wait, the birds are doing yoga?
And some climate and bird talks, so that's on Saturday the 10th. On Wednesday, we have our first beer garden at Schluter. And then on May 10th, 11th, and 18th, the Harry Whitehurst International Sculpture Festival is having 3 screenings of a documentary that was made by Greta Wing Miller, who's a professional documentarian, and about the Wood Sculpture Festival. And having seen it, I can tell you it's absolutely amazing. It's an absolutely amazing movie. I highly recommend it, and that's going to be happening at the Goodman Center, Goodman Community Center. Again, 3 different screenings of those 3 dates, the 10th, 11th, and 18th at 1 p.m. And then I just wanted a reminder to anyone who might follow this meeting that we do still have openings on city committees, various city committees. It's also posted, continues to be posted on the city's website. And a reminder to those chairs that receive the folders or files of people that are interested in your committees, that you're encouraged to weigh in with me on folks that you think would work, or if you don't think any of the files work, and we need to keep advertising on that too, be great. And finally, we had our first farmers market yesterday, and a beautiful day for it. It was a little windy, but otherwise a beautiful day, and it was a well-received market. Much more produce than I would have expected this early in the season. And as was advertised in the city's e-newsletter, the market is looking for more volunteers to help, and they are especially looking for a treasurer. So if any of you or your networks know of somebody who is familiar, they're kind of in a bind in terms of needing some financial assistance, somebody ideally who knows QuickBooks. But I would say check out the market. I think that's it.
Mayor,
Yeah.
can I just add one thing? I forgot to mention, on Saturday I took a walk down to the Cops and Bobbers event that was over by the Emily Deer Ball Diamond. And it was the first time I had attended. I just wanted to check it out and see what it was about. I'm told that there were about 50 young people that came. And what I also was reminded of is that Officer Luke, who is the high school resource officer, he is also the advisor and the creator of the high school fishing club. So those were the students from the high school that were sort of helping out, members of the fishing club, and each of the young people that participated went home with a fishing pole. How cool was that? It was really a very, very nice community engagement event.
Great. Super. Be happy to take a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Appointments. Appointment.
Oh, sorry. Covered up my own. We have one appointment tonight, that being Rebecca Holmquist is co-chair of the Landmarks Commission. She's already on the commission. You may recall that we changed the ordinance within the last year to allow for a citizen co-chair, and Rebecca's agreed to serve in that role, and I've agreed to appoint her.
Move approval.
Great, second.
I'll second.
Okay, first, all those in favor?
Aye.
Right, and now I will take a motion.
Motion
to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are
Boy, I wouldn't want to read
Just so you know, that's on the end of the video.
minutes laying around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty secret.
I love
Yeah.
like that.
Like-
Lois, do you want closed
I
session
took my
minutes?
bid. Yeah, once they send